Hey guys, how's it going? I thought I'd try using my webcam today since it's relatively bright in here for a change. So yeah, this is going to be a webcam vlog instead of a phone vlog. So it was the Eurovision last night, and I sat up and I watched it with my mum, and I was talking with Ali on MSN at the same time, and we had such a good laugh. It was absolutely hilarious. I didn't watch the Eurovision last year, and I don't think I watched it the year before. Or maybe I did, I can't remember. But I don't normally get this excited about the Eurovision, but it was so funny, the conversations that we were having between my mum and her friend especially. That had us in kinks for the entire evening. But yeah, the scores, I have them here somewhere. What we did was me and Ali chose our top 5 for who we thought would win, and my 5 were Sweden, Denmark, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Ireland, and Moldova. Those were my top 5. Ali's were Sweden, Denmark, Ireland, Romania, and Sweden, Denmark, Ireland, Romania. I can't remember who her 5th one was. But yeah, Azerbaijan won. I didn't particularly like their song all that much, but it was a decent song. They won with 221 points. The United Kingdom, for a change, didn't come last. We got 100 points. We ended in 11th place, which was really good. But my top 5, Sweden came in 3rd, Denmark came 5th, Bosnia and Herzegovina came 6th, Ireland came 8th, and Moldova came 12th. So my top 5 all came in pretty well, pretty high in the scoreboard. So yeah, that was what my Saturday night was spent doing. I was sitting watching Eurovision and talking with Ali on MSN. Because I've been doing this for a week now, I decided that I would start doing a schedule, or certain things on certain days. So on Sundays I've decided that I will do brief recaps or whatever on the TV shows that I watch. On Mondays I'll talk about any movies that I've watched, or I'm looking forward to in the cinema or something like that. Wednesdays will be focused more on my writing, and Fridays will be focused more on my drawing. So you can skip certain days if you're not really interested in whatever's being talked about on that day. So yeah, day 8. I'm rather impressed that I'm still going strong, surprisingly. I thought I would have vanished by now, or given up, or forgotten, or something. So I watch quite a lot of TV shows. I think I have a list of about 30 or something shows that I watch every single week. I've got a little list of the ones that were on this week, and if you don't want to know, if you watch any of these shows and you don't want to know, then click off now. The shows that I'm going to talk about are In Plain Sight, Castle, House, Glee, Cougar Town, Community, Big Bang Theory, and The Mentalist. So if you don't want to know anything about any of the things that happened in these shows this week, then I suggest you just click off now. So I'll start with In Plain Sight, which aired last Sunday. I really liked the show. I was kind of gutted when it was on such a long hiatus, and when it came back on the 30th of April, I was really quite excited. So this last week's episode was about this. I can't remember what the guy's job was, but it was this dad and his son got put in Mary's and Marshall's protection because the dad was a key witness in a case which had ended up getting his wife killed in a car crash, which he thought was supposed to be him because his wife was driving his car. And as the episode progresses, the dad gets steadily more mentally unstable. He thinks that Marshall is one of the bad guy's employees. He thinks that Mary's his wife, and I feel kind of bad for the kid the whole time because you can see he's struggling clearly with the fact that his dad is now spiraling out of control and going completely in the opposite direction of what they really wanted him to be. But when the kid runs away to Minnesota, I think it was, the dad escapes out of the hospital and obviously goes after him, and we find out that the bad guy who has been pretending to be a good guy and sending all this video links and things to Mary and Marshall is actually a bad guy. But when the dad confronts him in tennis or squash or something, a tennis court of some kind, he's got a gun, and Mary and Marshall managed to talk him down, mostly thanks to the son though, who showed up and was like, I don't want to lose you, and all this kind of thing. It was a good episode. It was a bit drawn out and a bit dull in places, but I really enjoyed it. I quite liked it. Castle and House were on Monday. Castle was the beauty pageant episode. There was a beauty pageant entrant who was tipped to win, was murdered, and so obviously Castle and Beckett are on the case and trying to figure it out. But the side plot of this episode was that Ashley and Alexis had broken up because Alexis wasn't wanting to keep Ashley where they were when he really wanted to go to Stanford, but they also didn't want to have a long distance relationship, and she didn't want him staying just for her because he would resent her and all this kind of big deal. So Castle got caught in between this, and Ashley asked Castle for his help, and it ended up at the end of the episode that Alexis said she was going to take an early leave from high school and go to Stanford with Ashley, which left Castle going, what? But the beauty pageant was a really good plot actually, because the whole way through you were, well, I was anyway, I was quite unsure of who the actual killer was. So when it was revealed at the end that it had actually been a blackmail by the victim, I was rather impressed with how they managed to, do that plot, like pull it off. On House, I don't know what it is about House at the moment, but I'm kind of just watching it because I'm used to watching it. I'm not really that interested in the overall plot. I can't remember any of the side plots at all in this, but the patient was a woman who was working with bombs, and it turned out that her boyfriend had been poisoning her because she was seeing somebody else or something like that. Glee, you'll have seen plenty of Glee spoilers or episodes or something. It was their junior prom, and the only thing I have to say about this episode was that they actually did a very good version of Rebecca Black's Friday. Cougar Town, I love Cougar Town. I will never get tired of Cougar Town. Travis had just proposed to his girlfriend, and she had said no. So she had said no, and so he's all depressed in this episode, and he's, his mum's like, just let him work through it, he'll be fine. But Bobby decides to take Travis to a strip club with Josie's dad? I think it's Josie's dad. So they go to the strip club, and it ends up there's only one girl there, and Travis just ends up talking to her, telling her all about his problems and troubles and yada yada yada. And also in that episode, Grayson was rollerblading, which he really can't do. And at one point, he's following this little kid, and he's like, "You look really like me when I was a kid." And then when the others show up, the kid disappears. So you're left thinking, well, was Grayson hallucinating and seeing himself as a kid? And it was quite funny. I'm sitting at 9 minutes now, so I'm trying to go really quickly. Community was the second part of the paintball episode, and all I have to say about this one, it was a really good episode and all this, but the thing that sticks out the most about this episode for me, near the end of it, when they're all clapping about the end of the fight and everything, when they're all clapping, if you pause it at the right moment, you will see Laurie and Travis from Cougar Town in this episode. I was like, what's going on? They weren't in any of the rest of the episode, and they weren't in the episode before it either. So I have no idea where they came from or why they were there. Big Bang Theory. Howard tells his mum about him being engaged to Bernadette, and she has a heart attack, or so he thinks. And so she has this heart attack, and they all go to the hospital. And Bernadette's feeling really guilty because obviously she thinks that she's given Howard's mum a heart attack. But by the end of it, it turns out that it wasn't a heart attack. It was food poisoning from the restaurant that Bernadette and Howard's mum had gone to when they were having like a little get to know you kind of meal thing. And Bernadette at the end sounds exactly like Howard's mum. And Howard says, "Is it just me, or is she really sounds really sexy when she's angry?" And that just freaked me out completely. Um, Finally, The Mentalist, an orchestra member was killed, and there's this whole big plot between, one of the other members of the orchestra being in love with her. So you think it's that girl that killed the girl because she was wanting to leave or something. I can't remember the exact plot between that bit, but it was actually an oboe player. The person who was killed was a violinist, but it was an oboe player who killed her because he was in love with another violinist. So he wanted that violinist to get the victim's spot in the orchestra. Am I confusing you yet? It's a really good episode. You should watch it if you really like The Mentalist. If you don't like The Mentalist, you should watch it anyway because it is a really good show. But this has gone on for 11 minutes, and I'm not even sure if this will upload now. But yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.